H1A Kasan here again, and today what we're looking at is the inside of my Dreamcast. This is the European model. I don't know which revision. And basically what we're doing is looking at this battery, because you know how when I did my AV mod over here, well not mod, but made the cable and fixed it, I said that the date kept coming up. That's usually a sign that your batteries are dead. And to measure it, you actually have to disconnect these, and these are a pain to disconnect because they're actually shock welded onto the is it shock welded or whatever, spot welded, but basically they're attached to these batteries. And although those are 2032 batteries, 3.3 volts, they shock weld them on, and it's kind of annoying to fix them up. But basically what you want to do is, if you get that time and date thing, usually it's a bad battery. What you can usually do is, if you get your multimeter probes and go like that, you can actually test to see what voltage. And I'm only getting, let's see if I can do this. I don't think I will. No, I'll have to use multiple hands. I'll try to get. I've got my new multimeter has this nice handy hold function. If you remember back to that, let's see if I can't get it to. Okay. Well, you see here that the voltage I was reading was 0.27. Now this should be 3 volts. If anything from 2.9 or 3 volts up to 3.3 is obviously good. Sorry, I'm itching my nose. Anything from 3 to 3.3 is fine. 2.9, it's starting to go. But that, my friend, is a dead battery. And I tell you what, these are the flimsiest pieces of metal I've ever worked on, and they just do not like coming apart. And literally all you have to do is just try to break the rivets, and I've just been trying to prise and bend and prise and bend, and although you hear that click, that's one of them going. And although usually you really, in fact, generally you shouldn't, oh, there we go, it's off now. You shouldn't really be prying at these, because you can break the casing. There's nothing else you can do. And also, you'll notice I was using a metal screwdriver, and he wasn't paying any attention. I could have shorted this battery out, but considering it's only 0.27, this needs to go into the bin, and besides which, even if it was to short it out, nothing would happen. So into the bag of bits. So literally all I'm going to do now is try to find the 2032 battery, and I'll see if I can straighten up those pins. Ow. So I just touched that and just sort of, it didn't shock me, but it didn't do anything good. Oh yeah, and this is just missing just because I've I wanted to get it out so I didn't damage it. Oh yeah, and before I go and do my little thing, I want to show something to you. Now, you won't be able to see, but that resistor looking component there, not many people actually realise, but it's actually a fuse, and I'll show you that here now. Right, I'm on the continuity setting on my multimeter, so if I try and get this in and try to do my multimeter hold, see if I can't. Now, that's coming up as 29, which would probably mean 29 ohms in here. I'm just going to confirm this by going to the, well, that'd be 200 ohm setting. So what I'll do is I turn it off, turn the hold off, and then go back down here, measure it again, and every time I get it on there, it just keeps slipping off. Oh. Yeah, it's coming up at about 13 ohms there, so I don't know if that is definitely a fuse, but that's a fuse, but it's a really weird one, so watch out for that one. But anyway, I thought I'd show you that before I go on. One thing I might do is change that LED to a blue one, because why not? I mean, I've got a blue Dreamcast logo, and the only reason those are red are because the Dreamcast logo is usually red, but in Europe, because there's already a German company with a blue swirl, we're not privileged to have that. Right, I'm going to go and straighten up these pins, so if you give me a second to find a pair of pliers in hand. And literally all I'm going to do is get rid of these connectors, and there's no way in heck I can use these for adding sort of pushing together a battery. I mean, I was able to do it on my Mega CD, but my Mega CD was slightly different. It had a sort of more sturdier pins, and although I could just go and get any old battery, I'd just rather, what I'll do eventually is put a battery holder somewhere and just put that in. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to press them together, because although now they're touching and destroying the CMOS, well, not literally, this means now it's got some resistance on it. So if I go find a 2032 battery, so when I got a battery, I'm not really sure if I should use this one, because like I said, 2.9 is iffy, and that's 2.89, which is pretty close to 2.9. So what I do, I'll see if I can't find any other batteries, and then I'll see if I can put one in here. Fortunately, there are no other batteries, so I'm going to have to deal with this one. I mean, it's not too bad anyway. I'd rather have a battery that has at least close to 3 volts rather than 0.3 of a volt, which is just absolutely inexcusable for battery quality. Sorry, you went quiet there. Dark, sorry. And what I'm going to do is look at the old battery, and you see here how it's got the 2 points, then the plus side, and then the 2 sort of very close points in the top side, and then it's got the line ones there. What I'm going to do is put this is the negative side of a 2032 battery, and the other side's positive, as you see there. So literally this side here I'm going to put towards the controller ports. So what I'm going to do is slightly bend them out of the way so I don't immediately short out the console, and then I'll see if I can't bend that in there, or get that a little trapped in there, and then see what I can do with that. That's not having it, it just keeps rolling about, and it wouldn't be too bad, but it's like, those are very flimsy, and you see I'm just lightly touching that and it's moving. I mean, I could try all day to keep it in there, but it's going to fall out eventually. So what I'll do is, not today, is put some solder on this, or what I'll do is actually get some better batteries, because A, I've just thrown the battery away, but B, I'll put the solder onto the actual battery, and then I'll solder it onto the clips, or maybe I'll just solder those and put a battery terminal in there. But yeah, so I'm not going to be able to repair it today, but at least that's how you do it. You'd have to break these, either desolder this tabs, or you have to break the tabs off, and then what you have to do is then just get a 2032 battery. Make sure you put the negative side towards the controller port, and then it should work fine. Always check the voltage of the old battery, because if it's got 3 volts, then clearly there's something else going on. But like I say, 3.3 or 2.9 to 3.3 is acceptable for CMOS. Anything below I'd get a bit iffy about. And the only other thing I'd have to mention really is that what was I going to say? Yeah, when you're actually dealing with these tabs, they're not the best. I mean, I'm probably, like I say, going to get a... actually, you know what there is? There's right angle 2032 battery holders. I'm probably going to get one of those. The only other thing is, if you decide to solder onto the battery, you can't put too much heat on these, otherwise they will explode, and they would not be nice. These contain alkaline, and if you get these on your hands, it's going to irritate, and it's going to cause a lot of pain. Plus, to neutralize such, you'd require acid. So yeah, just don't apply too much heat, or if you think it's a bit out of your league, just don't do it. I mean, you don't need these really. These are only for remembering the time, but it's like kind of annoying if you disconnect the power and then it doesn't work. At the same time, I'll probably just find a blue LED to replace the orange one, and we'll go from there. But that's for another day. Probably tomorrow, if I ever go into town. Anyway, so yeah, that's how you replace a battery in a Dreamcast. And I hope it's helped you, or at least, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and hope you, yeah, it's late at night. Hope you've enjoyed, and thank you for watching.